Okay, everyone, welcome back to my warrior guide. Today we're going to talk about the best weapon choice all around. I know a lot of people like to look at figures and stuff, but I feel like this is just an all-around good weapon to use, and we'll kind of go over why and the realistic, ways to use this weapon. Okay, there's three main weapons that I want to talk about today. Obviously, in different levels of, I guess, ranks, like 99, Elson, Isan, Samson, Sasan. They're all some special weapons around there that you can go around, tweak, or find. Like, for example, like Slog's Cub, Elson. But we're gonna go over just overall weapon and why this weapon's the best. Okay, so today I want to highlight the weapon, the Flamespear. This is dropped by, this was a quest reward for the Asmodee event. A lot of people just say, oh, selling Asmodee weapon and stuff. So you can't get this weapon in the game anymore, but you can definitely still purchase it from people. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that has this weapon and are using it, okay? We'll also go over looking at the TP quest. TPEC quest is what it is. You can get this weapon called a TP spear. You can do this anytime, but this quest does have a time requirement. I think it takes about a week to make, so make sure if you want to get this weapon, you have to get it right away. All right, and then next thing we have is the Sasan. Let's just say the Cutlass. Okay, you can still get these from. You can't get this anywhere. It's not actively. You can't get this actively, but if you can get someone with some mother loads, you can still get this weapon. Okay, great weapon. Also, very high damage. But just remember, the bad thing about all three of these weapons are these weapons still break on death, and you need to put item protections on them. Okay, so let me go over and talk about each and every one of these weapons, okay? I definitely want to just highlight the Flamespear because the Flamespear is my choice of weapon as why it's like all-around best weapon in the game right now. I know a lot of people want to kind of talk to me about why it isn't and stuff, but I'll go ahead and explain the reason why. Okay, all right. Also, I do want to know I won't be talking about subpath weapons or any. There are other weapon options, but we're not going to go over there. We're just going to talk about these three, okay? But I would actually put these three weapons all in its highest category. Like, in terms of weapons, these three weapons are the top in the game. There are some variables such as 99 Elson. You might have other stuff, but these are the top three weapons in the game. Okay, so let's talk about Flamespear. If y'all didn't know, Flamespear has a polearm like reach, and that's one of the reasons why this weapon is superior. Okay, if y'all don't know what that means, polearm reach is back when crafters were given the new ranks of Grandmaster, Champion, and Legendary, carpenters were able to make weapons called polearms. And polearms are pretty much a spear weapon that when you swing, you hit 3 spaces ahead of you and without something standing in front. So let me kind of lay it out for you guys right now. Okay, good. So when you have a polearm and you have no monster or any creature in front of you or anything blocking you, you're able to hit 3 spaces at one time. Okay, so now obviously we're warriors, right? So we have flank and backstab. So now you can actually increase these to more area. Obviously you won't be hitting this constantly because remember your flank kind of jumps back and forth. So alright, so here we go. So ideally you can hit a lot of positions at one time with flank, backstab, and your front attack, okay? Remember, if anything blocks you in any of these sides, it's going to miss and you're not going to hit it. Alright, and the reason why polearm was such a great weapon was because of the reach. You're able to hit multiple creatures and just kind of extend your regular attack by, obviously many more spaces Okay, so I keep pressing the push to talk, but I don't need to do that. All right, so these are traditional spaces where the scrolls are, and the antlers is where you would have with the polearm. So you can already tell why this is a lot stronger too. And not to mention, the reason why sometimes polearm didn't fare with the one-hand weapons was because the weapon damage on the one hand. But after the release of these spears, they actually made these spears comparable to one-hand weapons. If you look at the damage itself, it is very close to one-handed weapons. So like 207, the other one's like 210 over 700. So you can actually tell, like, you can actually use this weapon for practically anything. You can use it for your regular four spaces hitting, and it also acts as a PA. So that's the only reason why in damage perception is that this is all around great weapon. Okay, and then I'll talk about how hunting works with this weapon too. So the reason why this weapon isn't ideal at all times is because this weapon does add AC. So as a Chunrung, just as a Chunrung, you're gonna get a lot of AC minus reduction, and you're gonna add AC. I'm sorry, when I say remember, it's the opposite. You want less armor, right? If you get more armor, it's worse. I don't know why they made the game like that, but they should have made it easy. If you get more armor, it's great. If you get less armor, it's worse. So, as you know, when you rage up, you're gonna get less AC. You're gonna get more armor, makes you take more damage. Okay, so this weapon isn't ideal for most people because you're gonna get hit like crazy. But the great thing is it has good range. Okay, so that's one reason why you wouldn't use it. And another reason is if you die a lot. So if you die a lot, obviously you probably can't afford a lot of protects, and that's a big issue too. And I recommend always having at least minimally 2 protects on it. Everyone only puts 1. I have no idea why, but I'm not sure how many times you guys died before, but have you guys ever died, resurrected, and got hit again for some odd reason and died again? So those double deaths do occur. Or sometimes you might put 1 on, you die once, and then you totally forgot to put item protects on the second time. So you get a little buffer on both those events, okay? So I always at least have 2 on it, so I have 3 on it because I actually die a lot. I know that sounds really weird. On Rage 6 and with this weapon, I get hit like 200-300k in my regular caves, which is really scary when you're, doing Whirlwind. Okay, so that's the reason why you would not use this, because of rage. And let's talk about like carnages and stuff. People, when you PK and stuff, you definitely want as much AC as you can. You want the lowest AC as possible. So this kind of adds into it, and it kind of sucks. So that's why these are 2 reasons why not. So in Crusades, I recommend going with like the TP because it actually gives you negative armor. And if you really want to go heavy like warrior like, you can always go like shield and a weapon that gives AC. Alrighty, that's pretty straightforward. Okay, let's talk about the general aspects of this weapon, okay, and when you're hunting. So a lot of people say, oh, well, you're not going to have a mage, you're not going to always have a full PA set, right? Well, I totally agree, right? So we can already tell that this weapon can act like a regular spear weapon, TP spear, or a all around sword weapon like this, right? So that already cancels out both of them, and this is the hunting aspect, by the way. So this already cancels, those reasons why you would even use anything else, because it already does regular damage. So on top of that, you get extra weapon hit. Even if the creature moves around, you're still gonna hit it, right? I know a lot of times you got monsters, you got stuff running around like Rabbit 3. Stuff runs away when you hit him. So when it runs away, you'll probably get like a hit in the back, and there you go. Or if the monster is chasing after your poet, it can also hit and catch it. You can catch the attention of the creature too, which is another aspect what I want to talk about. So whenever I'm hunting and I'm duoing with my poets, I always stand adjacent, not direct. usually people stand like this. Like usually people would stand right next to their poet, across from their poet, and attack like this. But actually, that's the wrong way to hunt. Well, obviously there's different circumstances because you don't want to take a lot of hit and stuff. But a lot of warriors hunt like this, and that is incorrect. If you have a pole arm and you play like this, you can actually make it more efficient if you stand a little away from your poet. Alright? So if you, let's pretend the bear livers are where your poet would stand, okay? So you see that? So you always want to be about 2 spaces away from your poets because this allows you to get your maximum reach with your polearm, and it actually sets up overflow potential pretty much. I know at lower levels it's not really going to matter much, but as you get more ranking and more stats, you're going to start fighting a lot more, so your overflow is going to be a big factor too. Okay, so let me take out the bear liver so it doesn't confuse people. So I always stand 2 spaces away from my poet like this, okay? So when I'm swinging, I'm pretty much killing the one above me. There's always going to be something hitting me. And whenever that dies, or if I want to, I can pull off creatures off the poet because I can just whirlwind or correct the creature in front of me, and it'll overflow and grab these 2 next to him, okay? And yeah, it's great. And whenever something's swinging to the left, you can always hit that. Especially with Whirlwind Orb, you'll be able to hit these 2 and these 2, okay? So this sets up a lot of factors. You can pull off your poet a lot easier. You don't have to keep running around and stuff. You can actually cover 2 spaces from here, okay? And it holds your overflow targets really well. If you stand like this, remember that these overflow targets over here and stuff are moving constantly. So with being able to stand 2 ways, you have a guaranteed 2 overflow targets here, and because they're probably hitting your poet, which is pretty good. And you'll start to learn to tell your poet to move around. So if you get a lot of clumped up stuff in the north to the top left, all your poet has to do is walk down to the right here, bottom left, and all those creatures that was stuck in the upper left would start to shift down, and you can start taking aggro. Okay, a lot of people don't know, but your pole arm can actually pull a lot of aggro. So especially in lower caves, it's very hard to kind of make this work because you're killing things so fast. But when you're at sauce level, you're not swinging like crazy. So this kind of works out super well. You're pulling aggro, you're setting up overflow sets. This is the ideal warrior duo setup because you gotta remember, sauce on warriors, we have paralyzed, we got a lot of stuff for utilities. So this is just kind of like the basics, so to speak, okay? Obviously, if the creatures are hitting you too hard and stuff, you're going to have to adjust to certain environmental stuff, right? So maybe you'll have to do like a wall hugging technique, which is... I don't really like this technique because if you're getting hit that hard constantly, you probably need a mage anyways, so you wouldn't even use that technique. There's a certain warrior that does this, but it does work. It is efficient in some ways, but if you're getting hit that hard or it's that crazy, you might as well just get a mage, okay? Alright, I have to mention that I use this weapon for everything. I use this for minor quests. I use this for just amber hunting. Having that extra reach saves you 1 step, okay? Also, it also saves you a lot of time because when your monsters are coming in, right? They are probably it just saves a step for everyone. It saves a step for the monster, saves a step for you. So it kind of just overall adds into, increasing the damage and stuff. And I know a lot of warriors, and there's some. I had some warriors tell me oh, hey, well, you're not gonna hit anything all the time with the PA. Yeah, that's correct. But guess what? If you're using a regular 4-way weapon around you, you're only limited to 4. So let's say you had a PA, right, and you swung, and you actually hit a random creature here. See, look, you're already 100% increase in damage, because you would not have gotten that hit if it wasn't behind you, right? So just little things like that, it adds up over time. And obviously there are weapons where you can hit harder in a single DPS creature, right? But you're not going to be switching weapons constantly. I think that's pretty dumb because it just causes a lot of stress. So if you want to look at the weapon damage, just right click your weapon. We don't use the L in the damage. So never look at L, okay? This thing was never implemented, so we only use the S in your weapon damage, okay? So look at that, and you can compare it to other weapons and kind of see where they're at. See, this 215, and this is like, where's the other weapon? 222. Where'd it go? Oh, I was wearing it. Okay, so overall, the Cutlass is a lot stronger. It has a higher average range than the polearm, and the polearm has a very higher range, right? But the average hit of the Cutlass should be stronger than the average hit of the polearm. But as I said, the spaces matter, and if you get one extra target to hit, you're already plus 100% on damage. Okay, you have an extra. You're already 1 up on the damage. So you see how it kind of accumulates. So that's why the weapon's better. But in raw damage, Cutlass is going to win overall. And let's go into the other weapons, right? So we talked about the polearm. The polearm is just generally overall a good weapon used for hunting. So let's go ahead and talk about these other two weapons, okay? The reason why the Cutlass doesn't really shine very well in regular hunts and as Rage 6 is because the weapon itself has very low durability. If you didn't know, Rage 6 kills durability. It just kind of eats through it right away. So I think it's on the game's fault for not increasing this Cutlass damage all the way up. And at lower levels, obviously you're not hitting on Rage 6, so this weapon is ideal for low levels because it's pretty good. It casts Scourge, it casts Poison. It's a great weapon for PK because it can cast a non-atonable Scourge. I think it's a little stronger than Scourge too. So whenever I need to solo someone, I actually I switch to my Cutlass and I obviously try to solo them. The TP is a great weapon for Crusades. A lot of warriors are using shield and I think they're using like the Galeb with the shield. If they did, a lot of these people don't know, but the warriors you don't have enough Vita. You need the extra Vita for your attacks. So that's why I use a TP, and that's it, because you can double rogues with Whirlwind Kaya and you can correct rogues, one corrects them. But if you start using shield and the Galeb, you're not going to be able to do that. I know it's like super minor, but it makes a big difference. And if you hit someone Discessy, they don't die, it doesn't matter what you do, right? Just you're useless. I mean, you can cheat them, sure, but obviously it's useless if you do that. Alright, so pretty much that's it for all-around weapon. I just want to quickly go over which weapon choices I like, and hopefully as warriors you can kind of see where I'm coming from. I can definitely plug in numbers for you. Me and IXS had a very long conversation about this, and we came to a conclusion that obviously this weapon overall is better, but it's not better in terms of raw damage. Okay? Alright, thank you for joining me for this, this video, and if you have any questions, just comment below, and make sure you subscribe so you can get more of these warrior guide updates.